It's no secret. The best way to learn about Hope College is to spend time on our campus. The Hope admissions team invites you to a personalized visit experience you won't forget. Located in downtown Holland, Michigan, our historic campus is close to shopping and dining and just 10 minutes from Lake Michigan. We invite you to check out our campus tour options or sign up for an online tour with the Hope admissions office. There's never been a better time to see Hope College. Visit us at hope.edu/admissions.
Welcome, and thanks so much for joining us this evening. My name is Nate Haveman, and I'm one of the admissions representatives here at Hope College. Tonight marks the first installment of our Anchors of Hope series of online events. It's exciting. Tonight we have two current Hope students, Grace and Jared, and two recent alums, Rainey and Andrew. But before we get to that portion, they're going to jump on screen real quick here. I wanted just to talk a little bit about the context of this event. And Andrew, Rainey, Grace, and Jared will get to this as well. They were once in your shoes. I mean, in 6 months, many of you will have packed a car. You'll have driven somewhere and unloaded all of your stuff in a residence hall room. You'll have met new friends. You'll have eaten in the resident or the dining hall, walked the campus, maybe gone to class, hopefully studied. And that's coming up. Others of you are just starting your search. Others of you are getting ready to do copious amounts of research this summer and into the fall and plan campus tours at all your top schools. Some of your checklists are likely really long: big school, small school, public, private, around the corner from my house, or am I taking a plane to get there? But the thing you have in common is you're all here and you all have some sort of a checklist, something you're looking for because you're going to go to college. That's exciting. And it's also very overwhelming, and I get it. So what's great about tonight is you get to hear from current students and students who have recently graduated who can look back and share their experiences, the good and the bad, what they've learned and how they've grown, which is better than hearing me talk. I will end the evening with a bit of advice, 3 things that I've learned 5 or 6 years of doing this that I think are important. I think they touch most students that are looking at college. So take it or leave it, you're going to get it. So there you go. But I'm going to save those for the end so we can get to our current students. And again, we'll start just briefly. Why don't we say grad year and where you're from originally, and then we'll go from there. So Andrew, why don't you start, and then we'll go to Rainey, Jared, and then Grace.
Definitely. So my name's Andrew Harrison. I graduated in 2016 and from the suburbs of Minneapolis. So
Great.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rainey, and I graduated in 2017, and I'm actually from Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Hi, my name is Jared Lowe. I'm a senior here at Hope, so class of 2021, and I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio.
I'm Grace. I'll graduate next year, 2022, and I'm from Muskegon, Michigan.
Wonderful. Thank you guys again for joining me this evening. Rainey and Andrew will pop you off for now and start with Jared and Grace and get back to you in just a moment. So Grace and Jared, Jared, you said you're a senior, so soaking in the last of your Hope College experience, probably bittersweet in some ways. And Grace, you've got a little bit more time on the docket. Jared, why don't we have you start and go a little bit deeper on your bio. So what you're studying currently and what you're involved in outside of the campus, and maybe for you as well. Do you have plans for next year? Let's start there.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, like I said, I'm a senior here at Hope, soaking up the last, man, I don't even know how many weeks, 7 weeks, something like that. Studying business, minoring in chemistry. I'm on the track team. I'm a high jumper. I'm a Young Life leader off campus, so I lead at West Ottawa High School on the north side of Holland. I'm on the chapel band, so I play guitar and sing in the chapel band, and I work at admissions. So,
sure
yeah. Plans for next year. As of now, the plan is gap year, and I'll be applying to physical therapy school. So that'll be the plan. Excited to have a year off of classes, work a little bit, travel a little bit. So excited for that. Definitely bittersweet though.
Yeah, I can imagine. Thanks, Jared. And Grace, how about you?
Yeah, I'm a junior. I'm studying chemistry, minoring in geology. Planning to maybe go off to grad school and do some environmental chemistry work with that. Outside of classes, I'm an avid sailor. I'm on the sailing team, sailing club here at Hope. And then I am also a young life leader like Jared at a local high school. And an avid participant in campus life and campus activities and all things campus ministries as well.
Hey, Grace, sailing club. Let's just clear this up. I know this is not the best place to do it, but I just have a question about it. How long is that? Like what's the season on sailing club? It gets
We have
cold,
a
so
It is cold. We're looking to, as it keeps warming up. Today felt warm. I wanted to be sailing today. We have a spring and a fall season, so we're looking to get on our boats in the next couple weeks here.
ooh,
I think that
fun.
there's ice and snow still out there. So
Yep. Okay, and then one question for you too, Jared. You mentioned high jumping. How high do you jump?
My personal best is 6 feet 5 inches, 1.96 meters.
And I'm just about 6'6". I'm just kidding. So you could jump over me without too much effort. You could literally jump over me.
I could. Well, there's effort there, but yes, I could.
Okay, that's great. Well, thanks for weighing in. Okay, let's get to some tougher questions here. So you guys both probably have a fairly unique perspective on the last, let's just even say the last 2 years, pre-COVID and current COVID. What was Hope like for you before COVID, and what's it been like since? Like, how has Hope supported you through this tough time? And either one of you can go first. I'm happy with either one.
yeah, I like the second question, how they've supported me and how they've provided a college experience. So yes, things are different, but what I really appreciate about what Hope has done in the face of the pandemic is provide safe and still fun ways for us to be college kids and meaningful ways for us to study and do classes and really focusing on getting good at online school if that's what we have to do. Outside of classes, they've really done a great job still providing opportunities for community building and activities, opportunities. They're still allowing clubs and things like that to meet, whether it's virtually or in safe capacities. So they've put in all those safeguards, but still allowed so many things to happen and still allowed us to have a great college experience amidst everything going on.
So Jared, before you respond, Grace, give me your favorite thing pre-COVID and your favorite thing current COVID about Hope.
That's a good question. I have been recently really missing chapel. In-person chapel, absolutely packed, like all of the pews filled to the brim, kids standing on the sides of the pews. And I've really missed that. That being said, I just got to go the last couple weeks. We've started in-person chapel, and it's way distanced, and it's not packed by any means, but that's also been a big highlight is to be able to go back to some normalcy.
Yeah. All right, Jared, let's hear what you got to say.
Yeah, so I'll touch on the Hope pre-COVID versus post. It's hard to even remember what Hope was like before before COVID. But no, yeah, vibrant campus life, and it's really cool. Like Grace touched on, how Hope has still been able to maintain a lot of that campus life, especially now that it's warming up again. Events are happening outside. We have a dance marathon. So yeah, with Helen DeVos Children's Hospital, it's a fundraiser that's happening this weekend actually, and I think it's outside, which will be super fun, super interesting. But yeah, I mean, I could keep going all day about all the stuff that goes on Hope's campus. Movie nights, coffee house, chapel, Dimnon Chapel, filled to the brim. all sorts of out of class study sessions and things like that. Really cool. And that's kind of part of the reason I chose Hope, is just all the opportunities that there are to be involved on campus, to meet new people. And then March hits, March of last year hits, and we get sent home. We got sent home for the rest of that semester, which was a bummer. But yeah, Hope's done a great job of facilitating, a healthy environment so that we could come back for the 2020-2021 school year. And man, they just do a great job of catering to student needs. I've had one online class. The rest of my classes have been in person, which I've been super fortunate to be able to do. I got COVID at the end of last semester, and they were amazing in giving me a place to stay in isolation and feeding me and taking care of me. So nothing but praise for the Hope staff that has been keeping us safe and keeping us in person as well.
Great. Wonderful. And so Jared, you just mentioned one of the reasons you chose Hope was the chapel program, or, the vibrancy of the faith life here. Kind of hit on that, but also wondering, a lot of students that I talk with are looking at like big state schools in a school like Hope, or Hope in this case. Did you guys, either of you, have similar experiences? And if so, what made Hope the place for both of you?
Yeah, so I actually only applied to big state universities besides Hope. So Hope was actually the last school that I visited. Applied to, I'm from Ohio, so Ohio State, University of Cincinnati, the big guys. Yeah, knocked off in the tournament early this year, March Madness, very sad. But yeah, I visited Hope, and there's, the difference that I felt stepping onto campus, the hospitality that I felt, I think is something that is very unique to a small college. And that's something that immediately stuck out to me, and immediately I was drawn to. I wanted to be able to be involved in a lot of different things. I'm really passionate about music, so I wanted to keep playing that, studying that. I'm interested in natural sciences, so wanted to be able, a wide variety of different things, and Hope does a really good job of making that breadth of study available. I think that's one of the biggest advantages of a liberal arts college, Hope in particular. But yeah, I think it's such a stark contrast. If any of you have visited a larger school and then are planning to visit Hope College, or already have, you'll immediately feel the difference. I remember getting handwritten letters from my admissions rep. They sent my little brother a handwritten letter after I visited too. So just little things like that that really set Hope apart. And then once you get on campus, just the attention that you get from your professors, if you desire it, and the additional help that you get in your classes is just, it's huge. And I think those are the biggest reasons why I was more drawn to a smaller school like Hope.
And Grace, before you answer, I forgot to say this already. And thanks for that, Jared. Those of you who are listening, we're gonna, finish this kind of this next portion in hopefully the next 15 minutes or so, more of a scripted kind of time of questions and answers. So we'll have a good 30 minutes to answer your questions. So please use the chat below. And we'll answer them as they come, which would be kind of a fun way to do it and catch these guys off guard. So, Grace, what about you? Big school, small school? Why did you choose Hope?
Yeah, like Jared, I applied to many larger institutions, as well as I also did lots of small colleges in Michigan. I actually almost went to Michigan State, which is a stark contrast in size and pretty much everything about the schools between Hope and I'll just echo everything that Jared said, so I won't waste a bunch of time doing that. But Hope had the academics that I wanted. They had the opportunities, and they made me feel like I could do both of those, and I wouldn't be restricted to just picking my one thing. I've been able to dip my toes into so many different things. at Hope during my time, and I'm still being able to try new things and get involved and switch my major 7 times in my head and figure it out. So, yeah, it's just really great. And like Jared said, I just felt at home. I felt so known and loved and cared for by the people. And like Jared said about when people were taking care of him last semester when he got COVID, that rings true while you're here at Hope as well. So that welcoming community and the people really made the choice pretty clear for me when I was looking at colleges.
Great. Thanks so much, Grace. And I'm just gonna ask one more question of you guys before I switch over to Rainey and Andrew. And I think this is probably the most important thing, or I perceive it as the most important thing, and that is, what would you recommend to all those students who are out there? You were in their shoes just a few years ago. What would you recommend to them as they're looking for a college home? Jared, you can start. Sorry.
I would say think deeply about the things that you're passionate about, and then look for a place where you can pursue those things fully. I think, in my case, it was music and natural sciences, and sports also, which was kind of a funny addition, but has been really fun. But yeah, find those passions that you have and find ways that you can pursue those. And I think that will be a lot of help in finding the college that will fit you best. And then initially, find a place that is going to support you in your endeavors and your future plans. And Hope is just that. They will give you everything you need and more to be successful in college and as you leave, which we'll hear from a couple grads pretty soon. So
I'll piggyback right on top of that. When I was looking for the places where I could chase my passions, like Jared was saying, and that would check all my boxes, I had a few, and a few of them checked a lot of boxes. And so it was really hard to decide at the end, and I felt so much pressure to make the right decision. My mom, the greatest advice I ever got throughout the whole process came from her. And she said, there is no right decision. There are just a bunch of places, and you pick after you've done all the discerning and picked out the ones that would be good for you. To just release yourself of the pressure of picking the right one and just go with the one that feels the most right to you. And it'll be the right decision just because you choose it.
Oh, that's spectacular. Thanks, Grace. Thanks, Jared. Sorry, I had a technical difficulty on the way, so I missed part of your answers because it switched to my AirPods. Does that ever happen to you guys? When all of a sudden, anyway, just tech stuff. So Grace, Jared, we're gonna bring you back on shortly. But right now you can turn your video off and we'll get to Andrew and Rainey, which I'm also looking forward to. So here they are. And thanks for being here. Andrew, we'll start with you. Can you give us, you said where you're from. You graduated in 2016, but what did you study? What were you involved in? And maybe briefly, what are you doing now?
Definitely. So while I was at Hope, I studied chemical engineering as well as chemistry. Got pretty involved with research, kind of as an extracurricular. That was towards, the end of my time at Hope, but I was also involved in the Pull, Student Congress. I dabbled in orchestra for a little bit. That was fun.
Oh.
Yeah. What else? Shout out to Dance Marathon. That was a great experience. I danced 4 years, and it's a really cool fundraiser to be a part of. But, yeah.
Excellent. And I'm going to give a little bit more because as a recent grad, you have a pretty fun route to where you're sitting in Boston right now. Can you give us the snapshot, maybe 30-second version of what you did right after college as well?
Yeah. So right after college, I received a Fulbright grant to study engineering and energy in Denmark. So I got to live there for a year. Then I moved to Denver, worked for a nonprofit for a year. Then I went back to grad school, and now I'm in Boston. I'm an economist level 3, whatever that means. But, hoping to transition the world to more sustainable energy and things like that. So
Wow, that's great. And before I get to you, Rainey, Andrew, what in the orchestra? What did you play in the orchestra?
I played violin. I was the very
Cello.
first
Oh,
chair in that section.
darn, the very last year of that section, but you kept it going. Good for you. Okay, thanks, Andrew. Rainey, let's get to you. Same sort of questions if you remember all those. If not, I'll prompt you along the way.
Yeah, again, I'm Rainey. I'm from Kalamazoo, graduated in 2017. I was pre-med at Hope College, so I majored in chemistry and Spanish with almost a minor in computer science, but not quite. Took a lot of classes though.
Yeah.
Things that I was involved in, I was on the Hope lacrosse team. I did Hope track and field for a year. I was also involved in Greek life. I studied abroad for a semester and over the summer.
Oh, nice.
And I was a Phelps Scholar, which is a freshman
Oh.
program.
That's great.
So,
Where did you study abroad? Did you say that, or not? Did I miss it?
no, I studied abroad in Granada, Spain, for a semester, and then India over the summer.
Oh, wow. Good for you. And then tell us, what are you doing? You're 2017 grad, so you've been out a few years. What are you up to? Where are you up to, and where are you now?
So yeah, right after graduating, I actually became a flight attendant for 2 years to kind of beef up my Spanish skills and to hopefully become a bilingual physician. I'm now at the University of Michigan Medical School in my second year. So trying to survive.
Wow. Oh man, thanks for taking some time out of your schedule. That sounds so busy. Oh goodness. Okay, well, thanks for being here, Andrew and Rainey. First question I feel like I want to ask you guys, because you've already done the Hope experience, and now you've, Andrew, you said you went to grad school as well, and you can remind us where that was, but I get questions all the time about Hope rigor and how Hope stacks up against other schools. And it's not like an antagonistic, just wondering if you can shed some light on how prepared you felt for what was next, and maybe even some of the opportunities you had here that maybe counterparts at different schools didn't have. And Rainey, you're in the center of my screen, so you can start.
Okay, so in regards to Hope rigor, I can say I felt more than prepared to enter medical school. And actually, in fact, because our first course was biochemistry pretty much at the medical school, I was actually helping other students from some larger name institutions from things that I had learned at Hope. So when you hear about weed out courses like organic chemistry or biochem, like at Hope, they are weed out courses for real. And they do their job, and you receive the support that you need to succeed here that I've been able to carry through with me onto graduate school. So if you're ever concerned about the comparison, like, I mean, I was even like, you guys don't know that? Like, but it's a part of the education you get here. I always felt like I could ask for help. I always felt like, yeah, I was miles above a lot of people.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Thanks, Rainey. Andrew, what about your experience at Hope?
Yeah, I mean, definitely rigorous. There's a lot of learning that happened in those 4 years, and it's hard to think about, how many hours I spent studying. But one thing I would say was great about Hope is, having that liberal arts context. It was every year I was kind of reevaluating, where I saw my career going and what I was interested in. And I think that allowed for, some really cool scholarship opportunities, because I was very reflective and considering that. And I think having such a strong research program as well gave me a lot of confidence in my work. While I was at Hope, I got to present research in San Francisco, New York, Salt Lake City. And those were all sponsored by Hope, and kind of gave me confidence to describe some technical research, I guess. But
yeah. And that's amazing. I didn't know you did all of that research, and the presenting is so cool too. Remind us, where did you go to grad school?
Yeah, so also at University of Michigan. I got a dual master's degree in sustainability and chemical engineering. And I'll say the chemical engineering degree at Hope really set me up for that work as well. There wasn't anything too crazy or out of the blue that I hadn't seen. So
awesome. Oh, what a great testament. So I'm going to ask you guys some questions. I don't know that you know this answer if you remember this class, but Andrew, it just jogged my memory when you talked about the liberal arts, and that's such a big part of what Hope is. I was sort of, the first class I remember where that really came into play was my first year seminar. Do you guys remember your first year seminar? Like, what you do? Okay, what was your first year seminar, or like who was your professor? Think back to those days.
I can go ahead. My professor was a philosophy professor, which
Oh,
yeah, very interesting.
yeah,
It was all on the pursuit of happiness. So I still think
great.
about that a lot. People like to say Denmark is such a happy country, and I got this experience to live there for a year after Hope and kind of engage in those topics again. 4 years after I'd taken this first year
Oh,
seminar
fun.
class. But
Oh, it's so fun.
yeah, and
Cool.
I actually had 2 older brothers that went to Hope too, and we like to
Oh.
joke about our first year seminar classes a lot.
Yeah, that's great. Rainey, what about you?
So my first year seminar was a part of the Phelps Scholars Program. So in that program, we all do the same first year seminar program to get to know each other better, to learn about different cultures. So that was really cool. That's kind of like a multicultural community that you can do your first year at Hope, or at least when I was there, that's what it was. So yeah, that it was a cool way to get to know each other and learn about, again, different cultures.
Yeah, wonderful. So, and you're right, Rainey, still happening. And actually, guys who are out there listening, I think Phelps Scholars if I'm wrong, you'll have to connect me or correct me on the chat. But I believe the Phelps Scholars Showcase is on Thursday, the academic showcase. So if you want to learn more about Phelps Scholars, which is a tremendous program at Hope, a living learning community, definitely tune in on Thursday at 7 o'clock for that one. Okay, so Andrew and Rainey, I want to just ask a couple more questions. Maybe a fun one, maybe a serious one here. I don't know. Maybe we'll do both. But when you look back at your time, so Andrew, it's been 5-ish years for you, and Rainey, about 4 years for you. What's one thing you really miss? Like, what's just you think back and, man, for me, I'll go first while you guys can prepare your thoughts. Like, I just miss intramurals. I'm older now, but just like those 11 o'clock p.m. intramurals, flag football, under the lights, like I'm sure I would tear a hamstring or something now, but that's what I miss. So what do you guys miss from your time at Hope? Rainey, why don't you lead off?
I guess my kind of fun one is I really miss the professors. I know that might be a weird one, but I miss them just knowing who I am, checking in, knowing when I had a bad day. Pre-COVID, they would invite me to like their house for like dinner with like just me or a group of students just to get to know me better. When it came to asking for letters of recommendation for medical school, I walked in their offices and they were like, not a problem. We've been waiting to write this letter for you. Like, I didn't even have to like give a resume. They knew everything about me because they knew me so well. So that's definitely something I miss.
Oh, that's great. Andrew, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that popped in my mind was the grilled cheeses. I ate a lot. Meal plan. I was on the 21 meal plan all 4 years.
Yes. Wow, you stuck with it. Wow.
But I also just miss the community. I think I'm glad that Hope intro video started with, make sure you can visit campus if you can, because I think I kind of get goosebumps every time I visit campus again, and people are just like interesting. I don't know. I live in a big apartment building here in Boston now, and people just aren't as cool and exciting as the neighbors I had in my res hall days and all that. So just a great community.
Yeah, that's great. And actually, now that you just said that, Andrew, one of the other questions I get, this is obviously something every kid is wondering about, whether they're coming to Hope next year, or going to college next year, or it's down the line a bit, and that's where they're going to live. Can you both kind of talk about, Rainey, you must have lived in Scott Hall freshman year with the Phelps Scholars, but maybe talk about kind of what that was like a bit, some of the different options on campus that maybe you took advantage of would be good. And Andrew, you can start. Here you go.
Yeah.
Be right there.
So I was in Wyckoff Hall my first year. Really enjoyed it. Very central to campus. Everything's very walkable, which was great. I stay in touch with that roommate quite often. And then something that's pretty unique to Hope, I would say, is this cottage system. I think it's around 70 or so properties. So I actually got to live in a cottage my sophomore and junior year. So
Wow.
still had a roommate. There's like 8 of us in a house, but really enjoyed it.
Awesome. And Rainey, what about you?
And yeah, as you mentioned, I lived in Scott Hall with the rest of the Phelps scholars, right next to Wyckoff, actually.
Right. Yep.
And then sophomore year lived in Cook Hall, which is another dorm on campus. That they have like a dining hall attached to it, so I didn't even have to leave my building to go eat, which was super nice. Junior year, I lived in a townhouse. It was a Hope College townhouse, actually, Fairbanks. I think it used to be. But that was another option. And then senior year, I actually lived in an off-campus house, which was off-campus at Hope College is very close. So I was basically still on campus. But
Right. That's right. Yeah. So so Andrew had mentioned the cottages. So did Rainey. Yeah, Hope has 70 to 80 of these houses. That is a great transition for students to live with their 4, 5, 6, 7 best friends, or new friends in some cases, and sort of start that transition to what's next. Kind of a cool way to do it. So, okay, great. Rainey, Andrew, last question. And I said this with Jared and Grace as well. But what would you recommend to all the students out there listening as they get ready for college, like as they kind of pursue this college search? And Rainey, why don't you start on that one?
I think the biggest factor is to put everything aside, like names or all of that, more so go by feel. Because I guess the biggest takeaway that I have from college that I most appreciate from Hope is, for me, I wanted to do everything. I wanted to study abroad. I wanted to be pre-med. I wanted my professors to know me. I wanted to play sports.
Yeah.
And Hope allowed me to do that. And here I felt at home when I visited campus, like people were so welcoming. And it wasn't just a visage that they put on for a visit. That's like who they are. And at the same time, I was able to like discover my own faith and what that meant to me on campus without feeling any sort of pressure. So I think, again, these 4 years will change your life, and just go with, honestly, like what feels right. Don't pay attention to all the flashy outside aspects.
Oh, excellent. Thanks, Rainey. What about you, Andrew?
I would just, consider what you're most interested in college, really break down kind of, is cost a major factor? Is it the academics? Really build out that decision matrix, I guess. And it is a big decision, but I mean, it's also such an exciting time. Like it's hard to go wrong, but just do your research. I'm sure you'll find Hope is competitive in a lot of these fronts, and best of luck.
That's great. Thanks so much, Andrew. Thanks, Rainey. All right, let's bring Grace and Jared back on. And yep, they're still here. That's good news. It's great news. Okay, so we chatted, Andrew, Rainey, Jared, Grace, we chatted a bit at the beginning. We're gonna go through some rapid fire questions. Don't feel like you have to say something on each answer, because I wanna get through as many as we can. You guys are all amazing for being here and being willing to just dive in. So first question on the docket. How did you adapt to being away from family and friends and everything familiar? I think Andrew, Jared, Andrew being from Minneapolis, Jared from Cincinnati, that could be a good place to start on this one.
Yeah, I can start that one. I would say it's a weird transition. So I'm 5 hours
Okay.
from Holland. And I didn't have a car my freshman year. So I basically went home. My dad came and picked me up for Thanksgiving, and went home for Christmas break. So I probably went home 3 times the first year. And it's I think the first week, it really all kind of like sets in of like, whoa, I'm kind of like doing this on my own, and this is really exciting and terrifying. But I think overall it was a pretty smooth transition. And I think part of that can be attributed to just like the close community of the res halls. So I lived in Durfee Hall my freshman year, so the all guys dorm on campus, and it's just a super strong community. The RAs do such a good job of getting to know you and supporting you. Yeah, these RAs, resident assistants, they're sophomores, usually sophomores or juniors or seniors sometimes, who kind of have had some experience at Hope and kind of know the way around classes, giving you tips on who to take from, and just like being there for you. And that was huge for me. I'll never forget my freshman RA, but yeah, pretty smooth transition. You get kind of like distracted with all the stuff that's going on campus. So there's not really time to get homesick. You have to be, you're doing stuff all the time.
Right.
But yeah, really, I was happy with my first semester. So
I wonder, I'd love to hear from Grace or Rainey on this. I wonder if it's, in some ways, was it easier for you? I mean, being without a car, like you weren't going home, like it just was not happening. Whereas Rainey, Grace, you were, I think Kalamazoo and Muskegon. Was that tougher? Was that tougher to kind of cut the cord and to be at Hope, or not?
Might as well have been 18 hours. I mean, I didn't go home very often. I didn't have a car, so I mean,
same, right? Okay.
40 miles is equal as I might have as well been walking home to Cincinnati at that point. So I was still on campus, still enjoying, and I echo everything that Jared said about like being busy and like there's so much going on, so much community and so much support your freshman year. And so many activities. As someone who could drive home in 45 minutes, I didn't call my parents to come get me. There was enough going on. I felt at home enough and pushed through.
Push through. That's wonderful. Okay, next question here. A lot of you talked about different majors that you've had, and Rainey, you had mentioned pre-med track, chemistry, Spanish, tons of computer science. Seems like so much stuff. But how did you, the question is, did you find school resources helpful in deciding on a major? What was that like, from professors and advisors to whatever else you might come across?
Oh, absolutely. Because I came in a little bit all over the place, as you can probably tell. So I did get some direction. The pre-med advising staff at Hope College is incredible.
Yeah, that's right.
They will help you kind of figure out, based on all the courses that I ended up taking, it ended up being really close to a chemistry major. So they're just like, take, 2 more courses and get your chem major. As far as like computer science, even within that department, knowing that I was pre-med, they were still very supportive. I was even a teaching assistant for computer science, and I literally didn't major in it. So again, the professors are so interactive, so welcoming, that like, I definitely feel like I had plenty of resources. And even as a pre-medical student, there's a list of courses that they suggest you take to finish on time. Or for me, I wanted to spend a semester abroad. They'll work with you. Like, but there's nothing is out of the cards. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Did anyone ever use the Academic Success Center for any classes like tutoring, or can you talk about that a little bit, Grace or Andrew, either one?
Yeah. I guess I'm more familiar with the writing center. I frequented that quite often, and I think it's still set up in the library there at Hope. But yeah, that was just really incredible. I know it was like it was a good paying job for students that were very passionate about writing. They could help you work over an idea. And when I was going through these annual existential, applying for grants and all this stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
It's really good to go there and just bounce ideas off people. And, I think I did 15 drafts of one of these applications, and they were just very patient. And
yeah, that's
a great help.
That's too many. That's too many drafts, man. Yeah. That's just.
I'm not a good writer, but
I'm sure you do fine. Okay, so Writing Center. Yeah, that's still in the library. Great resource for Hope students. But one thing you mentioned, so I'm just going to take a tangent here. A good paying job for students, on-campus students. We had another question that was down the list a bit, but some of you, I think, worked in the admissions office here, which is nice. But did friends have other jobs on campus, maybe downtown or other areas of Holland? What about research? What kind of stuff is available for students coming in to make some money?
I'll just say quickly, I had a pretty good opportunity. I was doing research through the environmental science department at Hope and getting paid for that. And I also somehow got credits for it too. So, I mean, I was shooting
The dream, man.
dirt.
Yeah, that's the dream.
But it was fun. Learned a lot, and it's nice to have that part-time job. But
Anybody else have on campus or off campus work, Rainey?
Yeah, I'll just speak to on campus with a busy schedule. I worked in the library, so I sat at the desk and I helped people find books, but most of the time I spent studying and was also paid for it, which was super nice.
Also the dream.
Yes. And to wrap in like the Academic Success Center, I use that actually quite a bit, both sides of it. I needed a tutor for physics, so I used it in that way, but I was also a tutor for chemistry. So, and I got paid to do that. And just whenever I would meet up with somebody, I would record those hours and get paid for doing that too. So it was super nice.
Oh, thanks. That's great. Okay, let's see what else we got here from students. This is a fun one, literally. So what do you do for fun at Hope? What about on the weekends? Jared, you haven't talked in a while. Let's see what you're up to.
Yeah, so well, this year's been crazy, but a few more restrictions on fun having, but I think normally a great weekend for me when it's warm, going to watch the sunset with friends. And when I was in the dorms, actually, that was one of the things that made me start to love Hope is the amount of just random stuff that's going on. So my freshman year, I can remember like, oh, let's go to the Dow, play some basketball. I love playing basketball. We would go like every night. So fun. They would do coffee house, which is like people will play live music and you go hang out, and do homework. Donut runs. Okay, I did.
Oh yeah, fill me in on the donut runs.
A few of those. There's a late night donut place, probably 5-minute walk from campus. So when you're bored, you go get a donut there.
So good.
Yeah, all sorts of things like that, to keep you not stuck in your room all the time.
How far is the beach, Jared?
Oh, you're quizzing me here. It's 7 miles. So you can ride your bike there if you want to, or you can bum a ride from a friend. And it's like, I don't know, 10, 15-minute drive.
Okay. That's great. Anything to add there? Any other fun stuff that you guys did that I should know about? Probably not. Grace?
I really like having downtown 2 streets away from campus.
Yeah.
And it's really fun to be able to just walk and be off campus and not be caught up in the block of all your classes and stuff, and just take a walk through the downtown shops and restaurants and things. And obviously the beach and lots of nature around, but there's also that aspect of downtown as well. So
yeah, that's a good reminder. I loved the downtown when I was a student here. Another one here, I think this is a fitting question. I think Rainey, you had mentioned you were in Greek life, Andrew and Jared. So question was Greek life and the rush process. What's the time commitment, and is there a kind of a, one of these more involved, less involved type of a deal through your time at Hope? Rainey, how about you?
So this is a way throwback. I rushed in 2015, but the time commitment, it's very condensed, or it was at least, over like either 2 weeks to a month-ish, around there. And it was like activities maybe like every other night for that time period. And it's honestly just like events where you get to know other girls at the school that may be interested in joining the same sorority as you. For me, because I was so busy in other things, I wasn't as involved as other people, but at the same time, it gave me an opportunity to be social, to do like events, we volunteered places. It was just another thing to add, like if I wanted extra things to do and a group of people to do it with. So that was nice.
Yeah, and I'll just echo that. It was very much, however involved you want to be with it. I would say I was probably more committed to some other student groups, but it was nice to still have that social group. For instance, there was a Greek life short-term mission trip in Dominican Republic that I went to one spring break. So that was with Rainey's sorority and my fraternity.
Hey.
So yeah, that was a good time. But it wasn't. Yeah, I was much more of a academic books nerd during my time at Hope. But
Nice. Okay, that's great. Jared, I think this one's for you. How did you get involved in the chapel band?
So auditions are in the spring. So you audition, you can email the worship director here, Bruce Benedict. He's awesome, great guy. And you basically set up an audition time. They're usually from first or second week in March until like first week of April. So we're doing like our last week of auditions right now. It's a ton of fun. You just come in, we play like a short worship set, get to know you a little bit. And then if you're on, you get to start playing for the next year. It's a ton of fun, great community, great way to be involved in campus. You get to know a lot of people because you're on stage and you look out and you see like a bunch of different types of people. Really good experience. Would totally recommend it.
That's great. Thanks. How common is it to study abroad? Who has studied abroad? Raise your hand if you've. Is it just Rainey? So two out of 4 so far. Grace, do you have plans to study abroad?
I had plans, and I don't want to sound awful, but the coronavirus. But yeah, I potentially will be going on in Alaska May term.
Oh, great.
New year for a senior sem. So
Okay, that's great. It's a lot of students choose to study off campus, not just abroad, but also we have programs in big ones, especially DC, Chicago are quite big. So a lot of students choose to do it. Rainey, you mentioned Grenada. I had friends in Japan and Australia. So we have 300 programs in 60 countries. I guarantee one fits with your schedule, whether it's a full semester program or just a 1-month commitment in the summer. When students graduate from Hope, do they typically get jobs near Holland or do they spread out all over the country? Andrew, Rainey, you're graduated. Where are your friends? I mean, I know you're kind of spread out a bit, but where are your friends at right now?
I think people are pretty well dispersed now. It's nice. There's still definitely a hub of friends I have in like the Grand Rapids area, and Holland, I guess. But yeah, kind of end up everywhere, I guess.
Yeah. Rainey, you got friends everywhere too?
Yeah, a lot of my best friends from college are actually in Chicago. That's where they ended up going. And then a lot of them ended up back where they're originally from. So some of them are back in California or Texas even. So like Andrew said, they're kind of everywhere. But there are hubs in like Chicago, Grand Rapids area of a lot of my friends still.
Just a quick question for all of you. There's been a few students who have requested questions directly for you. Are you cool to answer those via email after? Is that fine? Okay, so we'll save those. I'll put you in touch with those students. Another question here I think is a good one. Andrew, you talked about Wyckoff Hall. Jared, you talked about Durfee. Rainey, you talked about Scott. Grace, where did you live freshman year? Lichty?
Lichty.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about res life and food. Those are two things that every kid listening right now has in common. They're all going to sleep somewhere. And they're all going to eat. Andrew talked about the grilled cheeses. Let's go down the line here. Favorite meal at Phelps, favorite restaurant downtown, and then we'll get to res halls. Rapid fire, we're going to go in this order. Grace, Jared, Rainey, Andrew. Grace, go.
Oh, I forgot the order already. Favorite food at the dining hall? Is that the first one?
Yep.
butternut bisque soup.
What?
Yeah, come on.
How about that?
You can, whatever. It's my favorite, not, it doesn't have to be yours. Favorite restaurant downtown. New Holland?
New Holland. Okay, great. Jared?
The best meal at Phelps is Fiesta Lime Chicken.
Great answer.
Their Wednesday morning. I'm a sucker for breakfast food, so on Wednesday mornings they have smoothie Wednesdays. So they make like these fun smoothies in the morning. Those are really good. Favorite restaurant downtown? Yeah, like I said, I'm breakfast, most important meal of the day. Windmill is the
Windmill.
spot.
Come on, so good. Okay, Rainey, what about you?
Well, Jared stole mine. For my favorite Phelps meal, I love the Southwest Chicken Lime Day. That used to be my favorite. As far as restaurant downtown, I like Hops. Now that I'm a little older, I kind of like the food and the casual scene. So
yeah. And Andrew finishes off.
Yeah, also a big breakfast guy. There's the egg Van Kletz, I want to say. It was like an egg ham.
Oh.
Still kind of a grilled cheese, like a different variation of a grilled cheese, I guess.
You like a lot of bread stuff.
A lot of carbs.
Okay. A lot of carbs. That's good.
And then downtown, wow, there are a lot of good options on that stretch. I'm kind of a fan of Skiles. It's a little old school, but
yeah, definitely old school. Good pizza.
Yeah, it was neat. There are a lot of alumni in the fraternity that graduated in the 70s or whatever, and they remember going to Skiles, and so got a special place.
Cool. Okay, let's do the same thing with res halls. Again, this is something that every kid has in common. Maybe and we're gonna try to keep it short because we gotta wrap this up. But maybe the thing you enjoyed most about freshman year, as it comes to res halls, and if you could remember your roommate's name, let's do that, and maybe even where he or she is from. That's really putting you on the spot, but let's try it. We're gonna go backwards this time. Andrew, Rainey, Jared, Grace.
Yeah, my roommate was also named Andrew, and he also studied engineering, and we were in the same fraternity. So we were really good buddies. He was actually from Holland, Michigan, so we would get to see his parents like very regularly, and they would cook us meals and all that fun stuff.
Oh, nice. Great. Rainey, what about you?
My roommate's name was Zaji. She was from Chicago. And actually there was a third person who we were all super good friends. In fact, one is still my best friend today. So you can find best friends for life. She will be my maid of honor. Just gonna throw that out there when I get married.
Right.
But yeah, res life is fun.
Res life's the best. Okay, Jared.
Yeah, my roommate, his name was David. He's from Sterling Heights, so east side of the state, Detroit area. On the football team, killer defensive back, awesome roommate. My favorite part about res life, there's a lot of really fun traditions in Durfee Hall. I won't spoil any of those for you, but shameless plug. If you're a guy, totally worth it. Ton of fun.
Great. And Grace.
My freshman year roommate's name was Maya, and she's down the hall in the apartment next to ours, and we're still best friends. She's from Lansing, Michigan. I had such a great time. I really enjoyed the camp. If anyone's ever been to summer camp, it kind of feels like that. You're in a cabin with all your friends, and there's no counselors though, but it's kind of, and I just really enjoyed the community aspect. I've never lived with friends. We always lived at our parents' house our whole lives. It was fun to live right next to people.
That's wonderful. So last question for each of you. Do you have anything else you want to add? Maybe that's a better way to, anything that I've asked for advice, I think, from all of you. So I think we're good. While they're thinking, someone else put on average class size at Hope is 17 kids. So know that you'll know your professors, as all of these great students and former students have talked about. Well, that's good for me. Unless you guys have anything else to add, I'll wind this thing down. You all are the best for being here. Thanks for going off the cuff with me, being willing to try it out. and have a great rest of your evening. For the rest of you, don't log off yet. I said at the beginning I'd give you 3 things to think about, and I'm not going to belabor this. Those 3 things are this: as you're looking at the college search, whether that's ending in just a couple of months or in a year or 2 years, I think 3 things are really important. Number 1, look for a place where you can grow. Right? Look for a place where you're going to get better. Like this is what you want to find. You want to find a place you're going to grow. Number 2, search for a college where you'll be known. This was mentioned by every student. So I think that for me is a big piece of the puzzle when it comes to getting your first job or getting into grad school. Rainey mentioned that walking into a professor's office and they're just like, hey, we've been waiting for you. We were wanting to write these things. So look for a place where you're known outside of the seat you sit in the classroom. That's important, but I'm talking on a deeper level. So look for that as you're in your college search. And finally, and most cliche of all, I'll own that, is look for a place to be transformed. At the end of the day, you're going to walk in as a freshman and you're going to walk out after your senior year. And you should be a better person. The college you attend should help you get to a bigger place. You jump off and you make some sort of a community better. So again, look for a place to grow. We don't want to coast. Look for a place to grow, look for a place to be known, and finally, look for a place to be transformed. Those 3 things, I think if you keep them at the forefront of your college search, it helps you kind of hone in on what's really important to you, as so many of these students said. So again, thanks so much for being here. Thanks to Andrew Harrison, Rainey Thomas, Jared Lowe, and Grace Goskowitz. And good luck with everything you've got left of your college search. Go Hope!